Turkey A representative moving on to the semifinals with just one more game. We'll see if they can silence the crowd as we go to our casters.
Thank you so much, Rain Day. Once again, history being made here today. Turkey may have their one opportunity to make history and say, you know what, this is our best finish ever, and it can only go up from here. But on the opposite side, ONIC, the Sky Kings themselves, very understandably that most people will see them as the favorites, but it's tough. So far, we've seen so many good plays from either side, but Aurora keeps getting one over them just like this. But ONIC, this time, now forcing Rosa to take the early recall.
Yeah, a little reminiscent of the last game, right? But that time it was Sans that had to burn his balance spell early on, or was actually pressured enough to go back to base early on. But luckily for Rosa, no death, right? So no first blood yet, but this is kind of what we expected to see between this early game already. Now, one thing I have to question though too is this Hylos pick. We were wondering what would pop up in the XP lane given the bans and everything else. Now, is this the right thing against the Uranus?
I think so far against the Uranus, it doesn't matter. It's not about the laning phase, it's about the team fights later down the line, right? They have a way to kind of slow Kyrie down, force him to use his iframes early on, and I think the Glorious Pathway is significant to try and slow down both Sans and Kelra from either chasing those kills or to chase them if the impact from Aurora's team fight is just that much greater. We'll see on the very first turtle here to see how that's going to play out, because level 4s, they're going to be extremely key for Aurora.
Yeah, you got to think about it this way too. The crowd control, once again, that Aurora Gaming has been playing around with is what's helped their lineups and execution so much. Seekaboom's going to be sent back to base here because, again, going back to the crowd control options for Aurora, you know, they've got that stun that comes with the Hylos. You mentioned with the Glorious Pathway, slowing them down too, or speeding yourself up, which can help even Rosa. Go for that stun on this Eudora. And then, of course, you have Pagu and the Belric, right? This time around, too, you've got a Flicker because of the fact that you have the Hylos with that Revitalize, kind of that sustainability to work with. So Pagu's surprise factor can be beneficial here. So ONIC, as they approach these fights, you know, they have enough crowd control themselves. They have sustainability with their own Revitalize. And, you know, that's why when you see these compositions come through and you see the Revitalize come to play, it extends these team fights, which can be favorable, again, to have a Jushin, to have Kelra's space here. Oh, a couple punches. Okay. Better to burn the Flicker than die there for Kelra.
I totally agree, but more importantly, that just saved Seekaboom his entire laning phase. And now there's a potential angle here, but as long as Seekaboom is able to, you know, get some help to break that freeze, it makes things so much easier because he was about to get frozen out and not be able to play the laning phase at all. Down by bot side though, I'm surprised that Luna was able to get this much pressure considering that Lupe is supposed to be the one who actually kind of maintains full control overall. Like his passive into the Ring of Punishment really just kind of doesn't matter. It's just a free stacks for him. Okay.
Little jump in from Keyboy. I mean, they wanted to make a play on Rosa. But Rosa holds on to the Flicker too, so that's a no-go there in the mid lane. A couple ultimates thrown out. And it's back to it, but ONIC slowly building up what they can across the map. Much slower pace, you know, than what we have to see because, again, ONIC needs to kind of slow this down in a bit, let Kyrie get to where he needs to be, and pressure where they can. Right now, mid lane, okay, Sans still going to be okay. Much mana to work with here, though.
Yeah, again, at least Rosa is able to try and equalize the EXP just a little bit against Sans. Unfortunately, oh, hold on.
Oh, Seekaboom. Fighting off Kelra here in the 1v1. Taking too many shots, though. First blood in the hands of Kelra. Man, did he fight for that one.
Oh, predicted from Kelra as well. Anticipating where the Chrono Dash was going to be. And now they have to protect these green camps. Luna is going to try, but that Retribution is a little too big for the side of Kyrie as they continue to take these small incremental leads and making sure that when they do the man-to-man defense, there's always just a huge tax that ONIC applies on towards Aurora's side.
Oh, Pagu. Going to go ahead and heal up a little bit here, but okay, ONIC's not going to follow through with that. They are just looking for those small wins. They're looking to compound the interest here. Gideon, as you mentioned, now Zaman Force dropped down. Kelra going in with a bit of stun there to work with. Torn apart memory. Not going to be enough, and Seekaboom will get his revenge. And now Sans re-engaging with the beacon. The rest of the team to follow through. Kyrie will be able to pick up a kill for himself. Now Tienzi off the wings alongside Lunar. Glorious Pathway drop down and Sans trapped, nowhere to go. Keyboy with a jump, not going to be able to find the target. They're split up here. Now Tienzi waiting once again on the call. Lunar will go ahead and just force out ONIC from this area.
And that's officially Aurora actually winning out big time on that trade. Where was Kyrie? Was he not in position to try and trade for Kelra, or was he 100% confident that Kelra was going to win that no matter what? Risky as it is, at least the flicker is back up, and more importantly, Kyrie already getting his own Sky Piercer. Let's see if they can snowball this, because unfortunately for Lunar, he's going to be a big problem for ONIC, especially on these neutral takes.
Yep, TNZ also got his. First item locked in for Rosa too. Both mid laners fighting for it out. Second turtle though. Glorious Pathway already dropped down. Still half health from the turtle. You're gonna deal with Lunar. Again, a split fight happening here. Loopy able to get a couple resources out. Now Lunar trying to get away with that revitalize. Still gonna reset this turtle. So neither team getting the upper hand just yet, but it will be Kyrie to hold on to this turtle. It looks like TNZ is just gonna have to give it up.
Yep, they don't have the health or the mana, and ONIC, that's what they want to do, keep taxing them until they can't afford it anymore. Once they go for broke, that's when ONIC can start fully taking control over this game. For now, at least for Aurora's side, they're looking for the first and second item power spikes to really turn these fights over. So having this 2K lead on ONIC isn't the worst thing in the world. However, where's the big conversions, right? Every single lane is winning here.
Wow. Okay, and I guess they just got the call too. You know, Sigibum, come join us. Give up that top lane, but they will be able to find Keyboy. So trading it out just to grab a kill, forfeiting the top tier 1 turret. Aurora Gaming is going to make that switch now, looking to put pressure on tier 1 mid.
And that's exactly what you want to do. These are the conversions that matter here. And Pagu instantly wants to cut off as many rotations as possible. Look at Lunar right in front of Sans' face.
Yep, they're going to have to stop him down. Glorious Pathway to disengage, but Aurora Gaming got what they wanted. A kill, and now that turret falling in the mid lane. So this is going to be a battle. I feel like for game 4, what we're seeing, very different from the previous 3 games, is just this battle of attrition, finding these little moments around the map, finding ways to open it up, get that favorable matchup when you can, win this next objective, that turtle, and eventually the Lords come.
Whoa, hold up, hold up, hold up. This could be really, really dangerous. As ONIC forcing Lunar out of position, allowing Kelra to actually open things up. You can see the rest of the members are man-to-man defensing here. They understand what's about to happen, and I don't think they should take this right now.
All right, Conceal used. Little taunt there, Unbreakable, gonna bring Pagu back. He goes in with a flicker, locking him down with the Raptor Dryad. Sand's gonna be okay though. Aurora Gaming on the back foot, they want to get away. Avatar of the Guardian will burn the flicker from Rosa. Still gonna be caught amidst it all. Against the wall they go. A burst of damage, but Sigibum is gone, and ONIC will win this fight. A double for Kyrie.
That's got to be upsetting here. Very, very upsetting. But even so, it's just not enough damage. The economic lead here for the side of ONIC being pressed against Aurora as they are starting to run out of breath. But initially, when you see this fight from the side of Aurora, maybe it could have been something more, and they wanted Sans really bad. They got the ult out. They also made sure that he doesn't have his flicker available. The problem is if they don't net themselves the kill, that's a lot of resources wasted on the side of Aurora.
That also, you know, when we saw it from the highlights there, it just looked like they weren't synced up the way they wanted to follow through on Pagu's setup. They were kind of in a weird position, and it might have been one of those cases where, again, Pagu's just like, you know, I'm already here and I'm already taunted up, but I'm breakable and everything else. I kind of have to do something, and, you know, Aurora Gaming loses that fight. Now they lose themselves the space to work with. They're 5,000 gold behind, and ONIC has been in this driver's seat now for a few minutes. And the fact that you have the Sky Piercer that was picked up and we talked about minutes ago, Kyrie's now got a couple stacks on it, so that's great for him. And even looking at the build that Kelra has, he's going for the Rage Advantage, right? He already had that blade earlier on. That was the first item he rushed in. Then he got Malefic Gun, and Brody's already got great range advantage against a Harith. Well, now, even more so.
Yep, and I think that's the really scary part, right? Because ONIC, this is a really good timing to, you know, instigate fights, and Aurora recognized that. That's why you're seeing them clump up together a lot more, because they have to work with their secondary win condition, or main scaler in this particular case, in Sigibum.
Yeah.
TNZ also understands that as much as he is the jungler, the neutral objectives are very manageable for the time being until we start getting into the Lords. So we need to see the tempo breaker here.
Right now, too, Lunar, even as tanky as he is, he can feel the damage being put out. This purple buff being fought for, though, unfortunately, TNZ will not be able to secure it. Kyrie's been pretty unrelentless in this side of the jungle as he just continues to take camps, you know, from Aurora Gaming.
Interesting. I hope I saw that right. That was a Haas call purchase coming in for Kelra here. Wants to make sure that at least at the very bare minimum that he actually has some form of lifesteal. And not to mention that, you know, Brody naturally, the way that his auto attacks work, has so much more base damage than the regular marksman, all kind of put into one because he doesn't have as many consistent auto attacks compared to them. In this case, he's going to get a decent amount of heal, so in case they try to burst him, the window has just gotten smaller for the side of Aurora.
Okay, with Lord up, ONIC with a clear advantage. They should have space control above this. They'll keep Loopy up there on the top side, doing his thing for now. They don't want to overstep this. One thing's for sure is if you're up against a team like Aurora Gaming, you still got to respect what they can do, even if you have this kind of lead that ONIC has built up. But they can go ahead and play the map this way. You know, keep Loopy there, play around the rest of the 4 members of ONIC. And Aurora Gaming knows this. One thing too, having this dangerous grass in tow, you can make some surprise plays. We saw the attempt from Aurora, but now Lutfi being spotted out, and the rest of Aurora Gaming, they don't have much room to work with. Conceal was already used. They're going to keep them pushed off the Lord.
And the pendulum swings again. Sigiboom kind of the only person who has enough damage to deal with Lutfi. Rosa, as you can see, needs to put a little bit of work into Lutfi, start shredding the MR first, and then starts getting the empowered Fork to Lightning to ensure that he gets some permanent damage. But even then, Lutfi is in a phenomenal position. He's got plenty of magic resist. He's got plenty of health to work with. He's running Brave Smite as well. Oh, well, never mind. As soon as I say, Divine Glaive has already been purchased by Rosa.
All right, it's locked in. ONIC might be looking to make that attempt here. It's going to reset, though. Ice Queen Wand picked up, too. By Sans, being dragged back. Flicker forward, not connecting the Wrath of Dryad. Will get punished anyway. Kelra able to pick up a kill, and with that, Aurora Gaming has to give this Lord over to ONIC.
What a difficult job that Pagu is trying to attempt here. He sees the angle where he either has to pick Kyrie or Kelra. He wants to get both of them.
Yeah.
And I think it's starting to cost them here, right? I think he has to make a clean decision of what needs to get cut in half. So far, I think Kyrie should be the priority in this case because he's the one running Sky Piercer. That could open up some more opportunities, but it doesn't change the natural problem that even without a Sky Piercer, Kelra can finish off kills with torn apart memories from halfway across the screen.
Yeah, that range advantage is what makes Brody so deadly in this case here. And a POD picked up for Kyrie now. So maybe, yeah, Pagu just needs to go ahead. If he can catch Kyrie, catch one of them, might be better than what we've seen the past couple of interactions right now. They got to deal with this Lord up top. They clear out what they can in the mid. Where's Pathway drop down? They're going for Kelra. He's going to get stunned. I'm tired of the Guardian now. Kelra's in trouble. Pagu will find him and just punch him in the face. Locking him down. Keyboy gone. Kyrie on the run. Loopy trying to get away too. What just happened to ONIC in this side of the jungle? They do shut down Tienzi. And now Sans looking for more. Burns the flicker from Rosa. Lord is still there. Sigibum's got to deal with it. But man, Aurora Gaming might have found a little bit of life and wiggle room in this game.
Yeah, honestly, that was pretty good coming in for Aurora. I'm pretty sure that Keyboy didn't have his taunt ready to go, and they recognize that Kelra still doesn't have his flicker for a couple more seconds, so they find the punish. Let's watch this one more time, because it felt like Kelra just kind of ate it. And Keyboy, out of position, uses the AOG to try and close the distance, but by then it's already too late. The damage has already been done. Not to mention that also, you know, passive coming in from Pagu, shredding away at the little bit of life that Kelra actually has, but now he's got the Berserker's Fury on top of the Haas Claws. He's got some real damage in his belt right now, and unless Sans can keep him protected, they want the traditional front to back.
If ONIC didn't have that Lord that Aurora Gaming had to deal with, Aurora Gaming would have followed through in that fight. Seaboom knew he had to go back, clear it out. So, and they maintained the base turrets. Again, falling from this deficit, Aurora Gaming able to go ahead and find a moment, but I think that was just, you know, a little mistake from ONIC. Again, they still have a great lead. They still have Kyrie didn't go down, so he's, you know, his stacks that he's built up over this time has been okay. And as you mentioned, Kelra now has another item locked in here. Even Sans getting a little more defense locked in with that Bruce Force breastplate.
This is where things are going to be a little dicey all across the board here. And Keyboy already making sure he's able to slow down the auto attacks coming in from Sigiboom. Chastise Pauldron, a pretty important purchase in case that he just needs a sliver of health to survive. A lot of brute force breastplates across the board as well.
You know, they getting to kind of help with this physical damage throughput, especially with Tenzi. The way he's built up. I mean, he's even got a little mix of defensive-ness there with the Queen's Wings locked in. But it's just been I think one thing that really stands out throughout these, even the group stage now and the knockout stages, just the way the teams have executed these team fights is so crucial. Aurora obviously allows you to have a little more room to work with in comparison to a Paquito. So Tienzi really has to not get kind of faked out. I feel like that's what happens with a lot of times when the Aurora is across from you and you're dealing with it. You just got so much to work with. And that's why, again, the responsibility of Pagu so crucial here on landing these Rapid Dryads. Lootbeat going to be forced out of that brush alongside Keyboy. So it's a face-off for this Lord.
Just look at the way that they have to play, right? The only person who may be able to bait a reaction from ONIC is Sigabo because he's such a high-priority target. Now, ONIC, they don't have control over this, and Kyrie is ready to hop over the pit, but look at the mid lane. They get that first shove. They're going to reset this, and they're looking for an interception. Oh, are we going to get punished for getting knocked up by the Lord? Luckily, they don't.
Oh. Lootbeat, okay, he's still half health. They're going to bring back Lunar. Lunar dropping down the Glorious Pathway to cut off Lootbeat, but that's not the target you want to go for if you're Aurora Gaming. And now, couple ultimates expended here from Aurora Gaming. Lord will just reset as the space does.
At least they set the conditions. We used a lot of our ultimates, but we got a really good push down on that mid lane that ONIC has to respond to. Losing a free inhibitor turret is unacceptable at this stage of the game. And I think that at least for Aurora, they know they've hit the 43k mark. Their carries have the damage. Tienzi and Sigabo are ready to fight. The question is, can they get some value or discounts from Lunar or even Pagu?
They saw Tienzi up in the top lane. They wanted to blitz this Lord, but it resets anyway. So again, a good choice here to just kind of back off. Keyboy was there, gave them the information. Meanwhile, ONIC still looking to bait Aurora Gaming into a fight. Quarter the health on this Lord. Whoa. It's going to reset once again. Look at the positioning here from Keyboy.
Oh my God.
Consecration drop down. Pagu goes in with the flicker at the Dryad. Kalra's still going to be fine though. Torn apart Memory. Pagu goes down. Tienzi can't find an opening. He's trapped. Even with an immortality, Kyrie gets a double. ONIC with the team fight victory here will get them the Lord.
What an incredible read from Kalra. What an incredible read. He reacted perfectly to the scenario. Winner crown just in time because Pagu, he keeps on doing this. Keep your eyes here. He sees it instantly. Winner crown to dodge the entire thing, and he still has the corrosive strikes to make sure that he can finish everybody off. He's marked them, he's tagged them, he's outplayed them. Got in the gold lane for a reason.
Yeah, what a move there. Again, it's a KK connection, just a different one for this. And now knocking on the mid turret. They're going to go ahead. Force it down. Whoa, Keyboy taking a lot of damage here. He wants to get away. Does with the Avatar of the Guardian defensively with a sliver of health. He'll regen it back up. They still have the Lord making its way here. So ONIC can go ahead and walk this into at least a base turret, potentially knocking down two. Aurora Gaming wanting to hold on.
Oh, some really scary stuff. Really, really scary stuff. And you can see that Aurora, unfortunately without the Glorious Pathway, it's a lot harder for them to go on the chase. For ONIC, they can naturally do it, right? They have many different ways of using iframes and immobilizing, trading with one another, you know, the push and pull from Keyboy alongside with Kyrie to maintain their presence. Keyboy, he wants it, but they're not going to give him that option just yet. Oh my God.
Rosa, look at the damage. Rosa's going to have to be careful here, half health. But again, I think Aurora Gaming is going to be happy with that defense. They keep up two base turrets. ONIC gets one. They play the discipline route, and they'll back off for now. Again, they don't want to push it too far in. Even with, again, with this kind of lead, the composition, they can't get caught in a bad state here under these base turrets. So happy with one. Still have plenty of time for that next Lord to come up here. But looking at the items again, you know, now that you've already seen the Winter Crowns come to play, the Immortalities, you're going to see some item swaps up to this point.
Dom Ice already complete as well, making sure there's some kind of anti-heal and anti-shield. Oh, wait. Interception angle potentially here.
He's going to get Unbreakable taunted. Should be able to get away. Good coverage there, though, by Aurora Gaming. Again, you can see they have to play together here. They're most likely going to get poked down, half health or so. Pagu finally gets into Immortality, though.
Oh, man, Kyrie. Man, Aurora is such a busted hero. So many cooldowns. It's like, it feels like she's got 6 abilities sometimes, but...
She's not Suyo.
Yeah, she's not Suyo. Even though she has more abilities than Suyo at level 2 compared to level 3, you know, no big deal here. I can't wait for 4 abilities at level 1. Eventually we're going to get there. But the scary thing about it is that Kyrie understands that he's allowed to actually take the first move. Because until we see the trigger being pulled by Lunar, they know that Aurora ain't really in it. Their hearts aren't in it to go for the all-out fight without that condition. And as long as Kyrie has iframes to play with, he can do this all day, all night.
Yeah, it almost feels like Aurora Gaming's it's still used. Glorious Pathway, they're going right for Kelra, okay. They get an Avatar to the Guardian out, plus the Flicker. Burnt from Kelra. 10 seconds for this Lord to come up. I would say that's value for Aurora.
That's a lot of value, actually. Wait, I want to see what ONIC is going to do after this, right? Because now that Kelra doesn't have his Flicker, Winter Crown is going to get purchased here. Let's see if they correct the waves, because unless they can correct the waves, bot side is on a slow push, mid is neutral, top side is getting corrected by Aurora. And I think that ONIC, despite having a 6.9k lead, I don't know if Kelra has enough money to go for an item swap after that.
Yeah, this might be one of those cases where, again, you just delay this as much as you can here. If they can. Okay.
Ludwig having to use his ult. And Kyrie still dancing around. Yeah, they're not going to do much about this. And I think that Aurora recognized that, you know what? As long as Kelra ain't showing himself and he doesn't have that Flicker, it's not that big of a deal. Take away our purple. We don't care about this. Look at that top side. It's already shoving in bot side as well. Kirara shows up and now Aurora takes the space.
Oh! Rosa goes in with a Flicker, but Sans able to react in time. That setup not going to follow through. Now Lunar, unbreakable taunted. He's going to take a shot. Here, couple marks. They have to back off, though. This isn't the fight they wanted. Avatar to the Guardian, not going to connect, but it's Pagu. Immortality pop. This should be a kill for ONIC. He goes in with the Flicker. Wrath the Dryad drops down. Kyrie gets a kill, but Siggybo fires back. With a crown already used. They're in it for now. TNZ, Immortality. They're going to chase him down. He has nowhere to go as ONIC wins the team fight. They'll start up the Lord.
Great reaction time coming here from Sans. If he died there, I think that could have been it. It could have been the turnaround that Aurora were looking for. But that's what I'm telling you. That glorious pathway is the key to everything right now. A beautiful rotation from Kyrie alongside with Kelra to open up a different angle and forcing Pagu into a pretty awkward position. But you can tell that Siggybo, Keyboy, he's eating so many shots from Siggybo. It takes way too long.
Well, they're in the pace. They took out Rosa. Now Siggybo trying to get some revenge here. Kyrie has an immortality. He's got enough work to room with. Oh, Siggybo! Nowhere to go. Double for Kelra. That is it. It's going to take us to a game of 5 in this matchup with ONIC in Aurora Gaming.
Are you not entertained? We finally get a full series here in our playoffs. Great job as ONIC pulls it back to match point 2-2. These teams are so equally matched in so many different ways. The slightest advantages in the drafts.